So we are told that Air Canada Flight 143 ran out of fuel mid-air and it had a forced landing. It's a lie. It's a hoax. Well, let's join in a little bit on this sort of recreation of the hoax.
Longer to stop. The plane could have slid into the people who were at the Strip that day, which would have had catastrophic results. There could have been more injuries or even loss of life. Pearson and Quintel were partly blamed for their roles in the incident. A government inquiry recommended that Air Canada re-evaluate the training of flight crews and ground technicians in metric fuel conversions. It also recommended that the airline keep more spare parts, such as fuel gauge processors. Rick Dion retired in 2003 after a long career as Air Canada's coordinator of maintenance control. First Officer Maurice Quintel was promoted to captain in 1989. Captain Bob Pearson went on to fly 10 more years for Air Canada, his experience at Gimli shaping the rest of his career as a commercial pilot.
This experience affected me mostly by making me more relaxed as a pilot, giving me the feeling that as...
Now that's an actor, and I can't think of the name of the actor. If you know the actor, please write it down.
As much as I've trained for all those years, that there's always that question about how you're going to perform when the chips are down, and I now have the feeling that no matter what, as long as an aircraft stayed together, I would get it safely back on the ground. And so it's been a relaxing experience.
It's the knowledge.
They like to include dogs in their stories because dog spelled backwards is God. In a sense, they play God because they create realities that are false.
That you know under stress you can perform. Before that, you don't know. You just hope you will, and you train for it, but you never know.
With the things that they had to deal with was magnetic.
Okay, this is the one that you can see the makings of the Duping Delight smile as he provides BS, and he won't come into a full Duping Delight, but you can see it right there.
I think that got proven in the simulator in Vancouver. They tried out this same circumstances with several crews, and they all crashed.
They all crashed. Look at the little smirk.
Probably
A little wink of the eye, a little twist of the head.
the most important thing that came out of it was a realization that when something new is introduced, special attention and training needs to be accomplished for people to be aware what they're dealing with.
When we had landed and the airplane was all in one piece, I thought, wow, I got another chance to fly again.
Because of
I hope you got your lines right there.
a tragedy like that, once you take your deck of cards and fire it in the air, you're truly free. And I guess from that point of view, Gimli could,
I can't remember my lines. I need the cue cards. All right, you get the general idea of it. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about why it is a hoax. Number one reason why it is a hoax is that this Gimli glider, they give that name to it because it landed in a military base, former military base. How about that? Isn't that something? That it would land in the former military base, and there's a picture of it. I'm sure the photographers had a wonderful time coming and taking pictures of it. So what is the deal? Well, basically, the deal is this. Jet engines do not need jet fuel at all. Now, I'm going to give personal experience. Several years ago, I flew from New York City to Guangzhou, China. And that flight was approximately 15 hours. A distance, according to this, of about 8,000 miles. And in that 15-hour flight, there was no stops for fuel. There was no mid-air refueling or anything. So you're trying to tell me that a jet similar to the one we saw in this hoax story can go 15 hours in air flight on a tank of fuel that was given to them in New York City? Now, I was on that flight, so I'm giving personal testimony. 15 hours in the air from New York City to Guangzhou, China. This was several years ago, okay? So don't worry about me picking up any kind of mysterious ailments in China. 15 hours. Now, what is the answer? Now, again, I really am not an engineer, so I have to confess to you that whatever I have to say is just kind of things that I've pieced together. And I don't have an engineering background, so the other thing I'd like to say is that if anybody wants to disagree on any of my videos, you're welcome to disagree. I won't ban you from the channel. I realize I have margins of error. And sometimes I create videos just to go ahead and see if I can spark something in the viewers. So what I'm about to say is my piecing things together. The jets do not have fuel. It's a misnomer. And they keep pushing it so that the cost of air flight tickets is extremely high. Or they can add on to the cost of the ticket because fuel surcharge or something like that. So how does a jet fly? So pardon me because I'm in an area that's a little beyond me. But basically, I think that the jet engines as turbines are first of all started by batteries. The batteries will start them. And as they spin, they literally are generating electricity too. So that as they're going along, they will get electricity and rechannel it back into the jet engine. So the jet engine is ultimately self-sustaining. I apologize for the commercials there. I have no control over that. They are generating it as they go along. They might also be harvesting electricity by the body of the jet itself, because the electricity is actually in the air, and electricity is harvested from the air. It is not generated on the ground. So the plane itself could be harvesting electricity as it travels, and the turbines could be generating electricity as they travel, and hence it is all fed back into the turbines of the jet engines. Now again, I acknowledge that what I said may have some flaws in it, and maybe there's someone out there with greater knowledge and greater skill. You go ahead and please add, please say something, all right? So I'm not completely certain of how or why there's no such thing as jet fuel on jets, but I do know this, that this crash is a hoax. This emergency landing because of lack of jet fuel is a hoax. And it's a hoax because, first of all, they want you to believe in the jet fuel hoax. Secondly, they want you to be petrified to fly on a jet, because it's always about fear. Creating fear and allowing fear to control the population. So they will come up with these hoax stories like Canada Air Flight 143 and others to frighten you. And then they will have these programs like the one I'm playing right now to kind of, quote, recreate the hoax event. And once it's recreated, you will believe in jet fuel, and you will be afraid to fly. And thirdly, you may have some hero idea of the pilot and co-pilot, of which they're not really heroes because it's just all fakery. Anyhow, I can't resist making videos, and I'd like to say another personal word here. A while back, I was at a point where I didn't want to make any videos, and I even came close to just closing down all my channels and be completely done with it. So I'm kind of at the other extreme right now, whereby as soon as I see something, I want to make a video. And I want to capture my thoughts right away, because if I don't, they'll dissipate on me and it'll never get made. So that's why I just produce a lot of videos, and all my videos are pretty much a one-take video. Once in a long while I have to go back over a video and redo it for certain reasons, but almost always I just get the camera going and I start talking and away I go. So there you are, Air Canada Flight 143 hoax.
That's about what we do.
Nobody needed to get upset.
Pearson now begins
Nobody
to descend
needed
from
to worry.
41,000 feet.
And nobody needed to be afraid, because nothing happened.
The low pressure warnings are spreading to more and more of the fuel pumps.
There are no fuel pumps. They're not needed on a jet. Now, I will not say that about propeller-based. Propeller-based is entirely different. Yeah, they are using fuel, but jet is completely different. It's an air wind turbine type of lift, and also it appears to me they're self-sustaining, self-generating, and there is no need for fuel whatsoever on a jet engine or a jet plane ride. So anyhow, I'd like to thank you for watching, and feel free to leave comments one way or the other. Even if you don't agree, go ahead. That's fine with me, because sometimes I like to just get some things going and see what people think out there. Thank you for watching. End of video.